But the euro is not so much a good reserve currency now. Because the United States has a bigger economic system, we're richer still, and we have a powerful military. People would rather park their short-term funds in dollars. So I have no idea how they're going to do it. History's against them being able to do it, but they might be able to come out with something as a basket of currency made up of the euro and the yen and the dollar. But generally speaking, the people don't trust it who finally realize what's going on unless there's something behind the currency, and rather than these promises by politicians. If we can't trust our own politicians or our own central bank, why in the world would we ever trust a world central bank? It just seems totally bizarre to me.
Well, we've addressed some looming issues both on the political and the economic scene. Would love to know what your thoughts are over the next 4 years, getting through this first term with Obama. What should good men and women be doing about our body politic? How do we get involved? What does it look like to be living wisely in these times?
Well, everybody has a responsibility, and it will be different. I think the most important thing that all of us have is the responsibility to ourselves to try to understand what's going on, and that is self-education, understanding the monetary system and understanding the Federal Reserve and government, and then trying to influence others and being involved and participate in political action. Education is number one. Political action is number two. Some people don't like it, but I still think it's pretty important. Some people are teachers, and that is fine. Some people are financial advisors that tell people how to survive, because I think that is important, because the more people who understand what ultimate survival is all about, the better off all of us will be. We don't want just 2 or 3 of us out there trying to survive. We want everybody to understand so that there's more. But I think along long terms of those young people I talk to on trying to get a new generation to understand what the principles of liberty are all about and what America has been all about, and why if we follow the Constitution, we'd be a lot better off. And for that reason, that is the reason I continued my campaign that ended last June into something called Campaign for Liberty. And we have an organization. We have a lot of people belonging to it trying to promote both education and political action. So, but every individual probably has a different role to play, but I think everybody has to do something if they do care about our country.
Well, Congressman Paul, I can vouch for the fact that you're being humble about recommending your own book, but the book is called The Revolution by Ron Paul. It's a manifesto. And basically, it is a great primer on the things you're talking about for people who don't want to necessarily read volumes and volumes of history. Your chapters are, the false choices of American politics, foreign policy, the Constitution, economic freedom, civil liberties, and then money, where you go into the Federal Reserve, interest rates, and how that can give a false indication to an economy and suck it into a huge crisis like we're in now. I would highly recommend that our listeners get your book. When you were writing this book, was your intention to give marching orders to the next generation?
Well, I don't like to describe them as marching orders, but I would call them very strong suggestions. I'm so convinced that you have to persuade people. We have to convince them of something. So I just would describe it differently, but in a way that is just trying to get people energized and excited. But, just like in the campaign, a lot of money was raised in the campaign. People come up and ask me, how did you do it? What kind of organization you have? How did you understand the Internet? And I said, it didn't happen that way. People got excited about the message, and they spontaneously joined in and organized their own meetup groups. And that's what I liked. I like this spontaneity and excitement. I feel like I might be just one to spread a message and try to get people excited. Then people will find a job.
Well, I tell you, reading through the book, it really is that. It is inspirational. And you end it with a list of books, which is absolutely fabulous. About 45 or 50 books, which should be in any personal library, and not just on the shelves, but read and underlined and highlighted. And they offer a lot of background, both to, and you even call the list, a reading list for a free and prosperous America. I think that's something that anyone can get behind, a free and prosperous America. Who's against it? Who's for it? I think those are obvious answers. Really appreciate you putting the time into distilling the message and giving some thoughts as to how we move forward from here. So it is a great primer.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Well, we hope that you are not considering being out of politics anytime soon. 4 years from now, probably more like 2 years from now, we'd love to see another bid for the White House. And you will have support, and I think probably an overwhelming groundswell of grassroots organization, which occurs not 2 years from now or 4 years from now, but right now. And that's what we would encourage people to be aware of, is being educated, understanding the issues, understanding leverage in the political process, where to push, where to pull, et cetera, et cetera. Those are things that you have to line up and line out right now.
Well, I don't know exactly where I'll be in 2 years. I know that I got through this election pretty well since I didn't have a Democrat file against me, which I was pleased with. But I feel like I've been doing the same thing since I first started in the 70s, and that is campaigning for liberty in the true sense of the word. And I've done it in different ways, in office, out of office, through educational foundations, through investments, and all these things, all with the idea that it's a great message, and that's what has made our country great. But I've been fearful that we have been slipping away from it, and too many people have forgotten exactly why America was great and free and prosperous. Very much encouraged that young people are very open to this message.
You quote Robert Taft early on in your book saying, "When I say liberty, I do not simply mean what is referred to as free enterprise. I mean liberty of the individual to think his own thoughts, live his own life as he desires to think and to live, the liberty of the family to decide how they wish to live, and they want to eat what they want to eat for breakfast and for dinner, how they wish to spend their time, liberty of a man to develop his ideas and get other people to teach those ideas, if he can convince them that they have some value to the world, liberty of every local community to decide how its children shall be educated, how its local services shall be run, who its local leaders shall be, liberty of a man to choose his own occupation, and liberty of a man to run his own business as he thinks it ought to be run, as long as he does not interfere with the right of other people to do the same thing." This is a message that carries. It's a message that has heart and certainly makes a lot of sense logically, and it's something that is nonpartisan or is supra-partisan. It would include and should include both Republicans, Democrats, and every other party on the planet. So thank you for distilling that for us. Thank you for being a guest today. We'll look forward to perhaps having you back again.
Thank you. Nice being with you.
Well, you've been listening to the McAlvany Weekly Commentary. I'm Kevin Orrick along with David McAlvany, and we can be found at McAlvany.com. That's McAlvany.com. Or call us at 800-525-9556.
This has been the McAlvany Weekly Commentary. The views expressed should not be considered to be a solicitation or a recommendation for your investment portfolio. You should consult a professional financial advisor to assess your suitability for risk and investment. Join us again next week for a new edition of the McAlvany Weekly Commentary.